if you PPF over top of those paint protection film, is there a risk of damaging those stripes that you get from Chevrolet? Great to see you, sir. Great to see you guys. Welcome to Tech Tuesday. We actually have a special guest to answer a question, kind of a specialist in this field, and I think it's appropriate to visit him and provide that for you guys coming up in tonight's show. And we finish up, as always, with some great looking cars. Again, creative shots of your Corvettes. They are your beautiful rides. Chucky, you got a stack, I got a stack too. We're not going to do a big monologue. There's all kinds of things to talk about. We're into Corvette season, so let's try and get some answers to some of your questions. If you do have a question for Tech Tuesday, how to use something on your car, maybe troubleshoot something, use that email address that's up on the screen, put Tech Tuesday in the subject line. We'll get to as many as we can every time we actually do a Tech Tuesday. Did you have a good weekend, by the way?
Yes, I did. Yourself?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was up all night long, editing the video for the comparison video. I mean, I love sharing that. Here we go. Here's the opening monologue. But no, I love sharing that. You're rambling back. You're rambling again. I love sharing that. But gosh darn it, it takes so long preparing that stuff. And I didn't have help for my son Ryan this year.
Yeah.
And I want to do it. There's more I wanted to talk about on that, but I think we covered some of the hot button stuff. And I keep saying, no, I'm not going to do it next year, but you know what? I'm curious about that stuff too, so we probably will do the comparisons on the 24 orders when we get to that point, so Stay tuned for that. So thanks for all the views and all the comments and all the support. I do appreciate that. Here's an email that comes in. I'm going to start off the show with an unanswerable question from Brent. Rick, I've been following you for 3 years, and I've soaked up all the information from you and Chuck in your videos, constraints, etc. I know what you're going to say to my question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Here's the setup. I bought a 22 C8 in October of 21 at my local dealership, and I waited a long time, and I know it's a waiting game. I'm now on their list to get a Z06, and I'm number 27, but they've only gotten 8 Z06s so far in a year and a half. So here's the unanswerable question. What is... This is what I do all day long.
Sure.
Answer hypothetical questions for you guys, but let's play. What's your best, wildest guess, given 1,000 caveats in the system, production and what have you, of what kind of time frame do you think it's possible that I would get a Z06 from these folks? And Brett, thank you for watching, and thanks for understanding it. Really, truly, not to be a smart aleck. It is hard to answer that because of not just what we deal with the inconsistencies that I talk about on production, on availability to the dealership, so you can't use what they got last year. It used to be that way. If you got X number last year, then you could kind of count on getting that for the following year as long as your rate of sale was what GM wanted it to be. And what I mean by that is a car's not sitting around for 9 months before you sold it. But that doesn't happen anymore, so you can't really count on that. It's so hard for us to forecast and project and answer hypothetical questions. So when I tell folks I don't know, I really don't know. Stuff is very close to the chest, and it's in real time. It's important to keep a rapport with whatever dealership you're going to order with to see what's going on. And then you got here's the other factor you got. Here's the human factor. It's not just numbers and going chronological. Do you have the dealer's buddy that comes in and, hey, is that so? Oh, yeah, okay. And then I was saying, yeah, man. All right, I'm going to get your order in. Oh, hey, yeah. I forgot all about you. Hey, I'm going to get your order in. And you're, after they deliver 5 more cars and you're still at number 27, you know where I'm going with that. So, and you can't control that. There are those kind of situations that arise, and it's how they handle it internally, not openly. Just like when Z06 first started, we talked about this very system as far as being on a list and where you were. Dealers were telling customers, and this has been happening for 15 years. Guys would say, "Hey, I'm number 3 on the list," for example. Okay, and they would go by the dealership, and there was 6 new ones sitting out front, and they're like, "Hey, dude."
Which one's mine?
Yeah, did you not pass 3rd grade? I mean, I'm number 3 and you got freaking 6 sitting out there. Here's how that's going to work. You're number 3 on our sold order list. We ordered these for stock and they're available at X. You know where I'm going with that. So that's the supply and demand, that's the inconsistencies, that's some of the games that you have to contend with. So I apologize, you do have an unanswerable question. I'm hoping, we were anticipating that things were getting better for Z06, but there's been months, several times in the last year, that they didn't do any Z06 allocations. And now that they're trying, they're not there yet, clearly, trying to get E-Ray ramped up, who knows where Z06 is going to be penalized or increased in production, if it can be. And maybe at some point you and I can do some business. I'll continue once a month, at least, maybe twice a month, give you marketing updates, especially as we're approaching 2025. So thanks for watching and thanks for sending this in. I'm sure this helps more than just yourself.
All right, this one comes from Brian. And I have to read the title on this. It says C8 brake pad change, all caps, problems for Tech Tip Tuesday.
You're laughing now, and he started laughing when he was reading this before the show because he pretty much knew where this was going. Right, here we go.
He's got a 2021 Z51 HTC with 19,861 miles on it. I brought my car to the dealer to change the brake pads to Carbotech pads from Paragon. The dealer just called me and said the car is throwing multiple error codes and has gone into limp mode and they cannot clear all the error codes. They said they would have to try to figure out what's wrong with it, would try bleeding the brake system a couple times, see if it will clear the error codes. Doesn't seem like there should be any problems with just a simple brake pad change. Oh, Chuck, what's going on? Thank you for your help.
Welcome to C8, kids.
Welcome to C8.
Oh,
I've been down this rabbit hole. It's a terrible rabbit hole to go down on these brakes. That's why I tell everybody when you're messing with the brakes, first thing you need to do is disconnect the battery.
Yes, sir.
For number one, so that it don't go through a self-test while you got the calipers off and either blow the pistons out or crush your fingers.
Yeah, hurt yourself.
I said, if it's setting all kind of error codes, somehow, some way, air must have been introduced into the system. So, yeah, they're going to have to go through a bleed procedure, and trust me, it's a procedure.
It is a process, too, and you have a GM tech line that help you with that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you talk about, we tease about the rabbit hole. It is the rabbit hole. It takes a long time. It could take days to find out the actual problem.
Could take weeks. I had the one car I put the calipers on, I had it 7 days. I had it a week.
Oh, you know what? And here, let's just expand on that real quick. I remember that situation. The guy was changing the calipers because he wanted to change the color. By the time you were doing this, this, and this, and this, all of a sudden you were having an issue where Techline told you, we might have to change the master cylinder.
Yes.
And they said, by the way, why are you changing all 4 calipers? And you said, well, the guy wants to change the color. And he goes, oh, well, if that's the case, then none of this is covered under warranty.
Correct.
Stuff that we've talked about in the past. Now,
even though he put GM calipers back on it.
Yes, absolutely. Soon as you've changed the matrix of the original build spec,
right,
you open yourself to that opportunity, but it doesn't sound like those were being installed right. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned Paragon and Carbotech, and in fact, I'm going to be getting gyro disc rotors on my car. We're going to do a whole specific video on that and show you the right way to do this, because he's going to put new high-temp brake fluid in, new rotors, new brake pads, and there's 2 different pads that I'm going to be using, and I'll be promoting for you guys, and I'm excited about that. So thanks again to Corey and the staff at Paragon. In fact, I'm going to be there on March 23rd for their Cars and Coffee show, kind of a gathering, sitting there just BS and talking Corvettes all day, and that's kind of a cool thing, so I do appreciate that.
And to bleed these brakes on these C8s, you have to have a special piece of equipment that will apply 45 to 50 pounds
the right pressure
into the system to bleed the brakes correctly. So there is a special tool for doing that.
Like you said, it's a procedure and a process.
And a rabbit hole.
And a rabbit hole,
if you go down.
Yes, it is.
Not a good one.
Here's one you're probably going to have to answer. This come in text via 215 area code. Rick and Chuck, I love watching you guys on Tech Tuesday. Thanks, appreciate that. Can you tell us about the customer satisfaction program tagged with reference number N232428090? Do you know what this is for?
Yes. It was the program for when you guys was ordering the appearance package for the rear.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, if you paid for it and didn't get it, this is now available to where you can go into your dealer and they can order them and put them on. If you paid for it and were reimbursed for it, you don't get them.
That's correct. That's the carbon fiber piece is part of the engine appearance package on your coupes. And we've had several people, we were kind of a victim of that, and I thought that we owed the guy the money back for that. Right. And they said, you may or may not ever get these parts, so it looks like months later that they're going to start replenishing those parts, and that was a code to let you know what the labor op was to get paid from General Motors to do that. In this case, the guy's window sticker was already updated. He already got the credit from Chevrolet, was never charged for it. But like Chuck said, if you paid for them, you never got them, you never got your credit, and you're finally going to get them, check with your parts department, your service department, with your VIN number. If they haven't been ordered, they may actually have to order them and request them rather than just sending them automatically.
Oh yeah, you'll have to go to a dealer and have them installed at the dealer. So.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, this one comes from Tim. Says, hi Rick and Chuck, love your show and always look forward to each week. The question is for Chuck. I bought a used 2022 Z51 HTC and just hit 3,000 miles. I took it to my local dealer to have an oil change, at the same time changed my DCT filter because the car's 2 years old. My question is, they topped off the transmission with Dextron 6 ATF part number 88862156 fluid. I thought the correct fluid was GM 1941-8016 DCT transmission fluid. Can you mix the two different fluids? No, you cannot. Should I have them change the transmission fluid, or is a little they added okay? All I can tell you is when these things first come out, you guys know I'm old school. Transmission leaks first started coming out, I put dye in the transmission, fluid dye, to look for the leak, and called GM and told them what I did, and they said, you did what? No. You need to drain the entire transmission and fill it back up with new fluid. You can't put anything in this vehicle, in this transmission, except the approved fluid.
You want to talk about transparency? I'm surprised he's telling you guys that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, it's what we did. We had an oil leak, coolant leak, transmission leak. You put dye in the system, run it, look for it with the black light, and that's where your leak was. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that on these C8s. That's a no-no.
Yeah, and there's certain things you can't use in the fluid. So which of those fluids were correct?
The latter one, the 1941-8016.
Okay, that's correct. And don't mix it.
Don't mix it.
Okay. Thanks for watching. We do appreciate it. Here's one from the Facebook group C8 Corvette from Brandon. He says, Rick, isn't the first service up to 7,500 miles within the first 2 years on a C8 free? I called my local dealership. We get a lot. We're getting to springtime. We're getting a lot of. It's going to continue. Sorry, guys. But it's important. You guys need to know this stuff. I called my local dealership to get the service done, and she argued with me about the first service not being free. That stuff's in writing, so there's no fighting. I don't know why this is even a conversation with a Chevrolet store. Brandon, I apologize. No, you are correct, sir. That is absolutely free within the first 2 years. And guess what? Like we talked about last week, if you buy that used, that first service follows the car, not the customer. So if you buy it used, it's not been claimed, and you're within the 2 years or 7,500 miles, then you're still entitled to that.
Absolutely. All right, this one comes from Gary. It says, I have a 24-2 LT that I've had for 3 weeks. Yesterday while driving, the radio went dead. I was doing something with my phone at the time, don't remember what. Today the radio's still dead. Everything on the infotainment screen looks normal, AM, FM, XM, music, all on the phone with no audio. Is there an easy fix? I left the door open for 15 minutes. Unfortunately, my 3-week car is in the body shop due to running into it with my garden tractor trying to park it in the garage.
Oh, goodness.
The tractor's now in the shed, so that don't happen anymore. I haven't heard of this. I don't know if there was a glitch that happened with your phone, whatever you was doing with your phone that killed it. And I just don't know.
Sometimes it's a software update that you're getting from Chevrolet. You got interrupted, which you really shouldn't do. I know somebody goes, oh, I've got mine done in the garage. Pull it out in the open and try to get the update. Maybe that you did the same thing that we talked about before, opening the door, trying to put the car to sleep and reset it. But there's a communication error there somewhere. Check at your local dealership to see if there's any codes on the radio.
The only other thing I might say is I know you start, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Make sure the radio volume's not muted.
Right. Yeah, you can do that on your steering wheel. You can do it by tapping the round button. We'll mute it, just like Chuck said. Or sometimes you actually look at the audio source. Maybe you're not on radio. Maybe it's connected to your phone and nothing's playing on your phone. And when you hit the audio tab, it'll show you all the sources. Hit XM radio, hit FM radio, and then maybe you actually get some sound. That's actually a good tip, too. Something very simple. Never thought about that. But yeah, it could be something as simple as that. Here's one from Ernest, Tech Tuesday. Rick, I've got a freaking Z06 at an 1100 status. You got nothing right now, but and you know that, so I wish you luck. I hope you get your car. I've ordered the Z07 Aero Kit, which comes with the front splitter, dive planes, and high wing. I did not like the dive planes, and they stick out on the side. Can they either be removed or not installed prior to delivery? This is a great question. You're going to be looking at some B footage right now as Chuck and I talk about this. When you get a Z07 package with the high wing, it comes with the high wing. I was shocked that they ship them with the high wing. It comes with the high wing and those dive planes, which I'm very shocked that they come like that, because they do stick out and the cover's just stretching, holding on for dear life. And it's on there. And I had asked you, do you think you can take these off? But they're like drilled on and all that.
Well, they're bolted on from underneath. I'm not sure how they go up the side of the bumper, whether they're just double-sided taped or if they actually have bolts that go through to hold them on.
Yeah, and I didn't really wiggle them. I actually was just kind of grabbing them, and they're so tight. I mean, that's an aerodynamic piece that's on there for obvious reasons for what that car is and does and can do. So there's no wiggle room in that thing. So I think if you have the dive planes, you have the dive planes.
All right, this one comes from Ed. It says, Rick, I watch your videos on grill guard covers for the C8, and Tad said that the covers could void your DCT warranty. From what I understand, you can order factory grill guard covers on a 2024 C8. I have a 2023 C8. What type would you recommend?
Well, I know you installed all of them, and which one do you prefer?
Well, I mean, the Paragons are a little tougher to put on because the way they go on. The GM approved ones are scrape armor. So after Tad said that they could void your warranty, Scrape Armor got together with GM. They worked out a deal. Now it is a factory option from General Motors. So, I mean, it's whichever you prefer. I can just tell you from an installation process that the Scrape Armors are a little easier to put in and do the same job. So
I kind of laugh when we hear that question because we've talked about this when C8 first evolved. That, in fact, was talked about at the Bash, the Q&A session, and they were so concerned. First, GM said they know everybody was doing it. They kind of wish that they came up with it, okay? So they're always looking for ways to make extra money. But they were also talking about, from a performance standpoint, and the tolerances in performance driving, how that could impede the car's performance, overheat, and that kind of stuff. But let's face it, the way 99.9% of us drive will never be to those tolerances, and I think they actually did some additional testing, and obviously it's approved GM accessory now, so you're not going to hurt the car. So definitely get the grill guards on there and enjoy your car.
Well, it kind of makes me laugh because if you look at the C7 Z06s, the openings were way bigger than on the C8, and they never had really grill guards.
No, that was never a conversation.
Yeah, well, but I will say, if you look back at the radiator, they'd actually put like a grid on top of the radiator. There weren't grill guards out at the bumper, but at the back on the radiator, they did have something to help with that.
So C8, it sits a little more further forward and stuff like that for the condensers and stuff like that. All right, we're going to break away and go on location to Esoteric Auto Detail to give you an expert opinion. Can you ruin your factory GM stripes by putting PPF over top of them? I really do consider you an expert. Hey guys, we're with Todd at Esoteric Auto Detail. I've seen him take black cars that look like they were washed with a rock. And then when he's done, they look like black glass. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you in here.
Great to see you. The question today comes from Chris in Kentucky, but it's going to help more than just Chris. You see the factory stripes. In fact, the car behind us has factory stripes in the front and the rear quarter. If you PPF over top of those paint protection film, is there a risk of damaging those stripes that you get from Chevrolet?
Yes and no. Short answer to that. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how the PPF was installed. You know, for instance, if you're looking at the edge of a panel, and when they put their vinyl on there, you know, sometimes they don't do a really good job of securing it underneath. Then if somebody puts PPF, uses an adhesive promoter on there that makes it really difficult to remove, your risk go up for that. But you know, as a multi-Corvette owner myself, I would rather run that risk 3, 5, 7 years down the road than the risk of any kind of rock chips and stuff going up on it, because if you peel any of the graphics, it's easy to replace the graphics on there.
Point.
But you know, it's not something that I would worry about. I mean, like this car here, we do a tremendous amount of cars with graphics on it. Paint protection film, a lot of them we'll see down the road, remove it, replace it after it's taken some wear and tear, and typically speaking, we don't run into any issues with that at all.
Right. I know the GM stripes that you get, like the tooled stripes that Chris has on his car, they're not just a piece of tape off a roll. They're actually painted with General Motors paint. So I assume that you really wouldn't have a problem taking the PPF off, but after it's been on there for several years, like you said, maybe if you used heat, that's probably the wrong thing. You probably do risk actually damaging that stripe, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, there's a possibility, and we've seen cars that have not been repainted, and you go to remove the film on it years later, and it pulls paint with it.
Oh goodness!
there's a lot of factors and stuff. How many hits did it take when it was on there? How fresh was it when it went on? Sometimes at the factory level, not saying GM, but sometimes at the factory level, they have spot repairs they need to do on cars, and that can cause weak points to it.
Right.
The biggest one we've seen over the years, it's always going to be a Ferrari for something like that to happen on, where you have a $300,000-$400,000 car, you remove film, and the paint comes with it, and you're having to get stuff repainted at that point. But it doesn't happen very often.
No, you bring up a good point. Protect the car, protect the paint. You always can replace and reinstall the decals at a later date.
Absolutely, and it's much cheaper than having to repaint. You're not having to worry about things, matching and all the stuff. So I wouldn't really worry about that from a removal aspect.
And now you know why we came over here to talk to Todd. Todd, thanks again, man. Great to see you.
Absolutely. Anytime, Rick.
Actually, Todd, looking at this car that we were standing in front of, this part of the quarter panel, the PPF is not on that yet, correct? Okay, but it is on top of the deck lid.
Correct.
Okay, so you guys can actually brings a little bit nicer sheen, actually brighter.
Yep.
Todd, thank you again for taking the time to answer that. I know that's going to benefit our customer Chris in Kentucky and many others out there considering to protect their Corvette. All right, Chuck, what do you got?
I've got one more. It comes from Dennis. It says, I have a C6 and I want to install LED in the interior. I've watched many videos on how easy it is to do. Tried the visor map lights and rear cargo hatch. Don't think so. Does Chuck have the answer on how to remove the old and replace them with the LEDs? Nate!
I think we need another guest appearance. Okay. Hey, Nate!
Hey!
Nate seems to be the LED specialist. In fact, that's one thing that I haven't done to my car yet. I wanted to do in the 21. I want to put, I know I'll never grow up. I want to put LED lights around the freaking wheels and underneath the car and in the bumper and the grill and everything like that. All right, hang on a second. You're not going to need this.
I'm not going to.
We're going to need your help for just a second, sir.
Well, not my help.
You guys talking about C6 and just replacing the existing bulbs to LEDs. I don't think he's doing any aftermarket stuff, but that's a pretty easy process?
Well, that sounds like aftermarket, actually.
It does have aftermarket. Oh, because he's going to replace the bulb. Okay, so it's aftermarket. Okay, but
so
I mean, he's not doing like a whole wiring kit.
Right. He wants to know what to replace it with. So they have, you can get different kits. You just have to look it up, see what bulb it has in it. The aftermarket light is so vast now that you can find a light for just about anything.
Right.
And they make basically the factory light just with an LED in it. So you just got to figure out which one.
Yep, take the old one out and pop it in?
And pop it right back in.
Okay, so that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, you just got to figure out which light you need.
Okay, beyond that, then you're actually getting into work.
And you can probably find, if you figure out which bulb it is, you can probably find a million different versions and different colors and different everything.
How do you pop those out? Do you use a tool to pop them out?
No,
or can you do it with your finger?
pull out.
Oh, you can just pull them out?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic.
Some of the tough part might be getting the lens covers off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, without damaging the lens cover.
All right. It's nice having guest appearances. Thank you, Nate. It's good to see you again, brother. And actually, because we don't do any show prep, I actually need you to get a tape measure, if you could, please. And I need the convertible top up on this car behind us. It's just, rather than talking about it sometimes, it's great to show it to folks. This is a question that comes from Steven, our customer, who's got a freaking 70th anniversary Z06. Good to hear from you, sir. So Rick and Chuck, watch the video of the guy that chipped his nacelles, and I'm worried about opening up my convertible in the garage. Can you give us the exact measurement so we can determine if it's going to hit the garage door opener or any of the metal things that are hanging down? So hang on, and he goes, oh, did you spend your $2 bills yet? Thank you for the gift, and no, I'm going to probably keep those forever. I thought that was pretty cool. So we're going to get you... I thought he was over here. Hang on.
It's 80 inches, so a little over 6.5 foot. 80 inches from the ground to the top here.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for checking that, man.
Yep. Okay.
All right, Stephen, hopefully that helps you on the measurements, and I guess that's important too if you've got one of those two-car lifts and your convertible is underneath. So, yeah, you got to be aware of that too. So, thank you. Thanks for our guests joining us today. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen and engage, sending in your questions, and thanks for taking the time to answer them. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Let's not roll yet. We've talked about cars. Let's show off some cars. These are some, every week they just seem to get better. These are some good ones.
your beautiful ride.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and comment down below.
I was too young, and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you hindsight is fleeting, oh, and your heart's bleeding, and all you can see is red, till you discover it is within each other to forgive and make amends. If I had known then, or what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the long road, thought I'd be better on my own. Sometimes what's right is wrong, and instead, 'cause I was too young, and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you again. Oh, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait, 'cause I was too young, and I didn't understand that you were the one.